Hi, and oh, what's going on now? Oh dear, don't know what's going on. Don't know what's going on. It's just a still image.
It's just peculiar. I have to just close this down.
Hi, sorry about that. A little bit of a strange one there, wasn't it? A freeze frame of me exiting, but we're back now. So this is the Monday Live, and we are live. We're live this Monday, we're next Monday, and we're off to Italy the Monday after. So Scottish Islands was the previous week, and it was relatively cool, but dry, whereas it's pretty cool down here at the moment, and then as I say, we're here for a week, and then it's off to Italy for a nice event in Montecatini. I think that might be a bit warmer than the Scottish Islands. We will see. We will see. So what's coming up? We've got the 5-level decision, which comes from a live hand from on board the Balmoral. So it's quite an interesting one, which not many people got right, I have to say, on board. And then we have our topic, which is of course disrupting declarer. So we're defending. We are defending this month, we're defending next month, and we're defending the month after. So it's a summer of defence. A summer of defence. And then on Fridays, we're carrying on suit establishment. Okay, we're carrying on with suit establishment, and we are very much talking about roughing suits good and trying to work out the extra elements that are required for establishing the suit in Trump contracts. With regard to the website though, we have the big changes coming up. So you should have had an email with regard to those changes. Helen and Howard and a number of the people in our team have been working very hard to try to develop the website into a more easy to use site. Now, I know many of you have been using it for a long time and are very familiar with it, etc. But it seems that quite a lot of people who use it, but also anybody who's new to it, get slightly daunted by it. So the aim has been to make it more usable and more easy to find what you require. With lots of question marks, basically allowing you just to hover over them and they tell you what they are. And that hopefully will be handy for those of you who are familiar with it. Hopefully you will be able to still very easily find what you require. So that's a really exciting element that's coming up over the next couple of weeks. In fact, we're expecting the launch of it to come next weekend. And obviously we're very keen to have your feedback and hoping that new people will be excited by it as well. So that is exciting. Also, I'm going to get even more excited because we've got our 4-year anniversary coming out, which of course means it's time for another prize draw. So that is going to be well, I'm going to say exciting again because I can't think of another word. Yes, so there'll be a free holiday, there'll be some software, etc, etc. So a number of prizes there for our members to get going with, and as I say, hopefully a holiday for 2 being the top prize. So that should be fun. And then we will finish with the bidding quiz, of course, and the beginner's bridge at the end of it all. In terms of the holidays, don't forget you can always see the holidays around on the Bridge Holiday site here. We're generally, a lot of denim, we do one at denim per month, so look out for that. I'm there, I think, next in August, and there's one in October that I'm doing, so there's plenty going on there. And we also have a variety of other events for you to look forward to, like some of our gourmet events or our country house events. So lots to think about there. Let's go to the 5-level decision, which some of you will have seen. Sorry about that little blackness there. So here you are, and it was a very quick auction, so not too much to think about. 1 diamond, annoyingly 4 spades. 1 diamond, 4 spades by East. Nobody's vulnerable, and you have a decision to make, which I think revolves around the 5 level. Now, what do you think? I think that's quite tricky. But this happened at the table. Well, I say it happened at the table. The hand happened at the table. I'll be honest. I got a 3 spade overcall against me, so it was slightly easier. And so it went 1 diamond, 3 spades. But we will revisit the various things that happened at various tables. It was played about 14 times because it was played in 2 tournaments. We had the showstoppers on the cruise and the long stayers, as it were, and I'll explain that when we look at it. Okay, so it's your bid, 1 diamond, 4 spades, and we'll revisit that after our seminar. And I think I'm only mentioning 1 cruise, I think. So just before we look at the seminar, it's a fjord cruise. We always like to do at least 1 fjord cruise a year. And there you are in September. The Croots are leading that one. Richard is an old university friend of mine. We used to play bridge at university. So, and he is coming back to doing some bridge events. So hopefully a number of you will be enjoying that with him. Okay, let's do it. We are looking at Disrupting Declare. That's the big seminar on the site at the moment. And it's a great thing to do if you can. If you think you know what Declarer's plan is, then being able to try and disrupt that is a wonderful thing. And what I said in the big seminar was that very often we can have a guess what's going on. Now, what I want to do today is focus on actually trying to guess what the plan is. Trying to guess what the plan is from the auction. And if you can do that, you're a step ahead. Okay, you're a step ahead. Delayed trump support. Okay, so if there's delayed trump support, we're used to what that means. Quite often we think about leading a trump. Okay. When they repeat a suit, then bid no trumps, what would that suggest to you? So if the opening bidder, for example, bids a suit twice and then eventually bids no trumps, it's not unreasonable to think that there will often be a 6-card suit. It might only be 5, but there'll often be a long suit. And the fact that they bid no trumps later in the auction would suggest they probably have an entry to that long suit as the stopper, perhaps in the unbid suit. Does that make sense? So attack where you think the entry might be, because you might be able to stop them making the very long suit. Okay, again, we're using the auction, not waiting until we've led, because very often once we've led, it's all over. Okay, and of course the classic 1 no trump response. When you get a 1 no trump response to an opening bid, that's a weak hand. Sometimes they finish in 1 no trump, obviously, but if they jump to 3 no trumps, the declarer is going to be the weaker hand. And quite often you'll find a situation where that weak hand actually has a long minor. Particularly a long minor. It can be a long major, but more likely a long minor. And again, won't have many entries to it. So cutting the weak hand off, and on this occasion it's the declarer. Okay, very often, of course, the weak hand's dummy, but when it's a 1 no trump response, the weak hand is going to be declarer. So it can be a little bit trickier to get your head around that scenario. So the delayed trump support we've seen a number of times. I'll just repeat a hand that we saw from last week. So last week when I did my pre-record, I was talking about particularly the trump attacking and being able to attack trumps before you see dummies. So of course this one we saw the auction, it went 1 spade, 2 clubs, 2 diamonds, 3 spades. We saw the delayed support. Whenever you see delayed support, you're expecting 3 trumps at most and a shortage, because with the 4-3-3-3 hand they might prefer to just bid no trumps. So very often you're looking at the north hand, before you've led you're expecting to see 3 trumps and perhaps a doubleton somewhere, maybe even a singleton. So when they finish in 4 spades, rather than leading the king of hearts, which is a perfectly reasonable lead, the unbid suit, you choose a trump lead, because actually it's not going to be a great massive surprise if there's a doubleton heart in dummy. And if there is, yes, your king of hearts might make, but you may be helping declare to eventually ruff a heart in the dummy. So this is the hand that we saw last week, and essentially it's relatively straightforward. Declarer can make an extra trick by ruffing a heart in dummy unless we lead a trump, because if we lead a trump, every time declarer tries to give a heart away, we win it and we lead another trump, and by the time he gets to the 3rd round of hearts we would have led 3 rounds of spades, so there will be no spades left in dummy. So that was the hand we saw last week, and as you can see, if you lead the king of hearts here, declarer can ruff a heart, and all he will lose, sorry, I'll leave that up. I hadn't worked out what I did. All he will lose would be a diamond and 2 hearts. If you manage to find a trump lead, declarer will actually lose 3 heart tricks here. Okay, declarer will lose 3 heart tricks. Okay, and that's all he can do. Okay, I mean, he might. I mean, I think he's going to want to take the diamond finesse. If he knew exactly how everything the layout was perfectly, he might be able to establish a club by ducking a club and playing in a strange way. But it would be a bit odd. You'd need to know the diamond finesse wasn't working to do that. Okay, but the trump lead is an aggressive lead. Okay, but it doesn't usually give much away either. So it's the beauty of a trump lead is it's aggressive but often passive. Don't forget though, little bit aggressive if it's a singleton lead, a singleton trump lead. Anyway, let's look at another hand. That was the hand from last week. Let's look at this hand. So 1 club from south. Okay, you remember you're sat in the west seat. The green baize is the table. The green baize is the table. You can see the directions on that table. So 1 club on your right, you choose to pass. I mean, you've got a lovely heart suit, but it's a 6 count. And not only that, you can't guarantee that the heart is the right thing to lead here, even though it's a lovely suit, okay? So I guess it's up to you if you want to bid on this particular hand. You could choose to, but I would feel with a 6 count. I mean, you're probably closer to a weak jump over call than a 1 heart bid for me here. But anyway, 1 club, 1 diamond. 2 clubs from south. 2 hearts from north. Okay. 2 no trumps. 3 no trumps. Okay, well, there you go. There's your auction. What's south got? Well, south hasn't shown a second suit. That's the first thing to say here. He has not shown a second suit. He could have done. It would not have been a reverse. 1 club, 1 diamond. If south had 5-4, he could have been 1 heart or 1 spade here, or he could have supported diamonds. And if he was 5-3-3-3-2, that's too many 3s, but you know what I mean. He would have either opened 1 no trump or we bid no trump. So I think he has 6 clubs. Okay, I think he must have 6 clubs. Bearing in mind he's got 6 clubs, okay. He's then bid 2 no trumps. What does that show? Well, for me, it shows a minimum hand. It shows a minimum hand, but it must have something in spades. And to be honest, I'm getting a pretty good picture of the south hand here. I mean, he doesn't have to have good clubs, of course, but a lot of the time I'm going to place him here with ace, queen, jack to 6 clubs and the ace of spades. How's that? Okay, no, he's not necessarily going to have that. But the beauty I'm thinking here is that he can't run his clubs because I've got the king of clubs, so he could have ace, jack, 10, 9 to 6 clubs, for example, something like that. The key is we know that at least one of his entries is in spades because he's bid 2 no trumps. The fact that he's only bid 2 no trumps, it's not going to surprise me hugely if he's got an 11 count, for example. And as I say, ace, queen, jack to 6 clubs and the ace of spades, that could be all he has. And if you know he has that, can you see what we should be doing here? The Queen of Hearts looks beautiful, absolutely. It's clearly a powerful lead. It's going to establish hearts. But the problem is there's 2 things. One, de Clever's probably going to play a club straight afterwards if there's a 6-card club suit, so our entry to our clubs will go. If your partner has got the ace of hearts, good news. But of course, what's going to happen there is it's going to be the Queen of Hearts is going to be ducked and your partner will have to win the ace of hearts probably on the 2nd round. He may have a doubleton, for example, in which case, again, that's no good. I think we should focus on disrupting de Clever here. So it's hard to get the balance right. You've got to work out whether you should attack, as in on your own, from your own hand, or should you try to disrupt de Clever. And for me, this is all about disrupting de Clever. I'm placing de Clever with long clubs and a stopper in spades. Okay, so I'm going to lead the 5 of spades there. Okay, so that you should always contemplate the unbid suit anyway, to be honest. But here, I'm not surprised by the south hand. Okay, I really am not surprised. You lead a spade to the queen there. And if de Clever ducks, it's really important, of course, your partner needs to follow with the king, because the whole point of the lead is to knock out South's entry. And if South's entry has gone, well, that is beautiful, okay, because South can only make 2 aces from the south hand, de Clever. Okay, that's all he can make. And in fact, if he tries to make an extra trick, as in takes a club finesse, which is probably a reasonable option, okay, it's probably a reasonable option, then, you know, he would actually only make the ace of spades. Someone saying, would you lead mud? I'm just trying to make things as helpful to partner. Be careful with mud leads against no trumps. In no trumps is not unreasonable here to lead a card. If I was dealt 9, 8, 2, I would lead the 8. But from 5, 4, 2, it's going to be difficult for your partner at times to read your lead. So by leading the 5, I've noticed there's 2 4s there, actually. I apologise for that. We'll give the de Clever... what have I done now? Yeah, we'll give the de Clever the 6 there. I'll just do that quickly. There we go. So de Clever's now got the 6 of spades, okay? But sometimes if you lead the 5, partner can work out, well, where are the 4 and the 2? And might be able to work out that you definitely don't have an honour. Whereas if you lead the 4, partner might be thinking, oh, I'll win the Queen of spades and lead a small one back to your ace, partner, and we might make the suit. And he wouldn't want to block it. However, having heard the 2 no trump bid from South, really East should be pretty sure that South has the ace of spades here anyway. So he'd win the queen, he'd then lead the king of spades to de Clever's ace. De Clever would make the jack of spades as well. Okay, so de Clever would make 2 spade tricks, okay, because of the lead, but de Clever would make only 1 club trick at max, and that's the crucial thing here. And in the end, we can switch to hearts. So your partner can switch to hearts, if that makes sense, and attack the hearts, because we can all see how weak the 4 and the 2 of hearts are in dummy. Okay, but hopefully you can see if the Queen of Hearts is led here, de Clever wins the ace, doesn't tuck it, of course, plays a club straight to dummy, probably taking a club finesse, but carrying on until the king has gone. And with the ace of spades there, de Clever makes 5 club tricks and 5 other top tricks. So there's 10 tricks in no trumps on a non-spade lead there. And that's the crucial thing. And I think we can glean that from the auction. It won't always be as perfect as this, but the auction, we don't really like opening 1 club and rebidding 2 clubs. Slightly different again if it goes 1 club, 1 spade from North. 2 clubs, we can't be sure what South's got. South could have 5 clubs and 4 diamonds, 5 clubs and 4 hearts, because South wouldn't want to reverse. So 1 club, 1 spade, 2 clubs is different. But 1 club, 1 diamond, South could have bid 1 heart or 1 spade here. So we know that South has long clubs. And then eventually after the 2 heart bid, when South then bids 2 no trumps, we then know that South has a high card. South has a high card in spades. Here, if declare finesses, someone asking, would you duck? Of course, you can see the singleton, so you don't need to duck. Again, that's what's beautiful when you can see the shorthand in the long club suit, as it were. Usually, a lot of the hands I show you, the long suit is in dummy. Does that make sense? And you're not quite sure how long declare is. You have to do count signals. Here, you can see the singleton lead, and so of course, when the queen is played, you take your king. And that would be beautiful. Poor declarer will be left holding nothing. Of course, the reason declarer might take the finesse is because declarer is hoping to make the contract and thinking, well, if East has the king doubleton, I can actually make the whole suit. Whereas the chance of a singleton king are very low. A king doubleton in the East hand is a chance, so you take a club finesse. And also, if it makes, you might cash the ace, and even if you don't bring the king down, you then hope that the diamonds break 3-3. So you've got a genuine chance of making. So taking the club finesse looks reasonable to me, whereas playing a club to the ace is sort of giving in quite early. Although I suppose you might still make just about if the diamonds break 3-3, because you've made 2 spade tricks, 2, 4. Yeah, you might still make. So you might choose to play. Maybe duck a diamond first, don't know. Yeah, maybe that's better. Okay, all right, let's look at another one. So we're here, we've got another 13 cards, which is good. North opens the bidding. It goes a diamond, 1 no trump, 3 no trumps. Okay, there you go. Nice and quick. So we're always in the West hand today because we're the opening leader. We've been listening to the bidding. So a diamond, a no trump, 3 no trumps, and it's your play. So what do we know is the question. What do we know? Well, I think for me, the key here is what you expect South to have. That's what I want you to tell me. And, you know, and you should have a fair idea what South has. Okay, exactly. No 4-card major, unlikely to have 4 diamonds, but could. But a lot of the time they'll bid 2 diamonds. So we're expecting declarer to have long clubs. Most of the time, declarer is going to have long clubs. I mean, we've got 4 diamonds. North has bid them. So if South has not 4 spades, not 4 hearts, South could have 5 or 6 clubs here. Okay, so to me, okay, I've got that. Where are the rest of his points? Well, I don't know, but I think, how do you think the hearts are? Well, North could have 4 hearts, but with 4 hearts and 4 diamonds, I'd expect him to have opened a heart. So therefore, North could be 5 diamonds and 4 hearts. With 19 points, he might have chosen to do a reverse here and just bid naturally. Although knowing partner doesn't have 4 hearts, he might have chosen to say, look, I've got a bit of distribution here. So I think a lot of the time here, you've got the heart suit wrapped up. And what do I mean by that? Sorry. You're not going to make lots of hearts. What I mean is that neither North or South have 4 of them, so it's not unreasonable to choose a heart. The key for me, though, here is that I've identified what I think South has, and clearly, if I play the ace of hearts, by looking at dummy, I might be able to identify where I think South's outside entry might be. So I'm tempted to lead the ace of hearts and then look at dummy with the idea that I think South has long clubs. Maybe dummy might help me identify where South's entry is. So again, I'm thinking of disrupting. I'm pretty sure, I mean, there's a good chance I could lead the ace of hearts and lead a small heart afterwards and still make 2 heart tricks here. But I think, I mean, I'm expecting definitely South to hold long clubs. Okay, so let's just do it. Lead the ace of hearts and let's see dummy come down. Okay, so dummy is big. I mean, that's a nice 19 count there. You can see why they've raised to 3 no trumps there. But the good news is we led a heart and we know that it's safe because South won't have 4 of them. So what do you think South's hand is? So I hope you can see the wisdom of leading the ace of hearts here. If we lead anything else, I have a feeling, well, I know actually De Clara is going to make 10 tricks. So we could have chosen the right suit to lead, of course, as we'll see. But I think that would have been relatively random. So I think the ace of hearts is a good lead. Now you're looking at dummy. What has South got? So remember, we're looking at dummy, but we're trying to work out what South has got. Okay. Well, South has nothing in hearts. Clearly South could have the queen of diamonds. There's nothing we can do about that. I suppose it could be a singleton queen. That's true. It's true, but that would make other complications for De Clara possibly. But I would have thought the most likely place for De Clara to have an entry here is in spades. So I'm going to take a random guess. South's got queen jack to 5 clubs and the ace of spades. How's that? Okay. Queen jack to 5 clubs and the ace of spades. As I say, it could be the queen of diamonds. The only way you could stop that as an entry is if it's a queen singleton. So that is a very, very specific holding in diamonds. It could be the case, but I would have thought more likely is that De Clara's entries in spades. Bear in mind that if De Clara has nothing in spades, then a spade lead isn't going to be bad anyway. So imagine partner has ace, king, jack to 4 spades here, then clearly a spade switch is going to be a good switch anyway. But if De Clara is sitting with queen, jack to 4 clubs, or for that matter, queen to 6 clubs or something like that, and has the ace of spades. Remember, De Clara only has to have 6 points here. Then if we could knock out the ace of spades, we force De Clara to play with just the dummy. Does that make sense? And with our diamond holding, if De Clara doesn't have the queen of diamonds, which is what we're hoping, then De Clara is going to struggle. Okay? De Clara might make a couple of spade tricks on our switch, but hopefully he has to use his entry to the dummy hand, and then he'll have to play only with the dummy. We will end up surely making 2 hearts, 2 diamonds, and hopefully partner's got 1 trick in spades. Okay, so I've led the ace of hearts because I think I've worked out what South has got, but I'm not sure where his entry is. Okay, so I mean, because of the ace king of clubs, now you've seen it, you're worried that De Clara has solid clubs. So you are focused on where his entry is. Okay. In theory, I guess partner could give a signal. Most of us, though, would probably play that as maybe count or whatever, but it's not a bad idea in this kind of auction, this kind of situation. Maybe East is thinking the same. Oh my goodness, maybe South has long clubs, partner hasn't led clubs. So in theory, East could use that 9 of hearts as a suit preference signal, I suppose. So we switch to spades. Okay, there's the full hand. You can see the South hand there. And it's a relatively, quite often a lot of people would lead a small heart here or play ace king in another heart, and you can see that De Clara has no troubles making 3 no trumps there. The defence will only make 3 heart tricks in the ace of spades because De Clara will win the queen of hearts, cash the ace king of clubs and play a spade, and when the king of spades is able to make the trick, they can then take all of their clubs. And if you don't put the ace of spades up and take your tricks, the declarer will actually make an over trick there. A diamond lead again, as you can see, declarer can win, and he'll always get to dummies. So this ace of hearts allowed you to perhaps more accurately guess what you thought declarer might have. You then played the 5 of spades. If declarer plays the 8 of spades or the 10 of spades, okay, you're able to cover that and force South to take his king, or to follow with the ace of spades, and again force declarer to play the king of spades. Declarer's best bet is probably to play the queen of spades there. And if he plays the queen of spades, he does make at least he makes an extra spade trick, because your partner, if partner guesses right, has to play the ace of spades on the queen and follow with the jack of spades to make sure declarer's forced to play as king. Does that make sense? Now that does give declarer 2 tricks, the king of spades and the 10 of spades, but the key is you make sure that declarer cannot get to those lovely clubs. Okay, and declarer is forced, as I say, to play on his own. If declarer tries the 10 of spades, because of course declarer won't quite know how the spades are divided. The 5 of spades looks as though it's away from an honour, so he may try the 10 of spades, and then if you put the jack on that, what does declarer do? He probably ducks it, but then you play the ace of spades and another spade, and I'm afraid to say declarer would then go 2 off. Well, I'm not afraid to say, I'm pleased to say declarer would lose. Would go 2 off, losing 2 diamonds. Well, I mean, he would lose all sorts of tricks, actually. He would go a long way off, would he? He would lose 2 spades, 2 hearts, at least 2 diamonds. Yeah, no, he'd be a long, long way off. Isn't that amazing? So it's a 4-trick difference, basically. Those 4 club tricks aren't declarers anymore. And that's the crucial. So if you can guess what's in declarer's hand, it's a wonderful thing. So that 1-no trump is always interesting, particularly if it goes a diamond 1-no trump. A heart 1-no trump, less precise, because clearly South can have 4-4 in the minors, doesn't have to have super length in one of them. Okay, but being able to find accurate leads on opening lead is quite something. And so what we've been doing there is disrupting declarer. Okay, we're basically considering what he's got and trying hard to stop him. In a way, think about when you declare. Think about all the different plans you make, and sometimes you make that plan thinking, I hope they don't do that. I think we've all been there, I hope you have. You think, well, if they don't do that, I can do this, this and this, and I can make this contract. I certainly say that quite a lot on Wednesday evenings. Okay, and every so often they disrupt you. They do exactly what you don't want them to do, and you sort of sigh. Well, I mean, you'll have heard me sigh. That's usually when it comes to about 1 o'clock. Okay, what else have we got then? Well, I think we should go back to that extraordinary hand that came up on the cruise. So let's go to it. So the auction was 1 diamond, 4 spades. Now my auction was very different. It went 1 diamond, 3 spades, and I had a very comfortable 4 heart bid for me. Nobody's vulnerable here, I should say. For me, I feel I've got to bid. 4 spades could be on anything. I mean, it could be on no tricks at all. It could be on king, queen, jack, 10 to 7. I don't think I've got a particular slam hand. I've got no idea what's in partner's hand. I would just bid 5 hearts here for me. You know, bidding what I think I can make. As it happens, you will finish in a slam because your partner will then bid 6 clubs. I mean, let's have a look. Where's my thing on? If I bid 5 hearts, I'm not quite sure what happens. Let's have a look. 6 diamonds, there you go. And it goes passed out. And then you're going to get a bit of a shock when you see my partner's hand. But I think sometimes you've just got to bid. So there's your partner's hand. One of the reasons I was intrigued with this one was because of the lack of people who actually got to the right hand. Extraordinarily on this hand, the diamonds break 5-0, but it doesn't make any difference because of the 10 of diamonds. So you ruff the first diamond, first spade, and as long as you're careful and you lead a low diamond to the 10, well, I'll show you why not. Okay, as long as you're careful and you play a low diamond to the 10, there's no shock. You can just draw the trumps. And the good news is the clubs don't break 4-0, so you make all of those clubs. So remember, draw all of the trumps and all 6 clubs make. So you do indeed make 12 tricks. I won't go any further, you lose the ace of hearts. As I say, at my table, it was a very poor... I don't really like the 6 diamond bid. I prefer 6 clubs. It turns out that 6 clubs can be defeated, but that's another matter. I don't understand why any North would not want... Picking up the North hand, I'm going to play the contract. You are going to have to do something spectacular to stop me playing the contract. Okay. The worry with 6 clubs... I'll just show you the auction that occurred at this table. The worry with 6 clubs, I guess, is it possibly a Q bid for a heart contract? So because introducing a new suit at the 6th level is unusual, I will admit. But amazingly at the table, in one section, everybody was playing in spades. Which is extraordinary, and none of them were in 6 spades doubled, which is not an unreasonable contract, as it were. And only 1 pair were in a minor suit slam. I mean, at my table, I can tell you what happened. It went 1 diamond, 3 spades, 4 hearts for me, and for some reason my partner, it went 4 spades, 5 diamonds, and which is funny. It's similar to what this hand has gone. So they haven't shown a 2-suiter. You must show a 2-suiter. Different at the 6th level, I can see, but you must show a 2-suiter, because if you don't, the south hand is going to want to defend. And so we finished in 5 spades doubled making for a complete bottom. But it's really important that North's job, North's job is to show that they have a spectacular hand. And in fact, even if my partner doubled 5 spades, I wouldn't stand it, I'm sorry. When you've got a 2-loser hand and partners bid the singleton there, you're a little unlucky that partner hasn't got the ace of hearts there. Most of the time he'll have it. So, you might even choose to try for a grand slam with the North hand, thinking there's a fair likelihood your partner will have both aces missing. 6 spades would just go 1 off. I mean, as you can see, there are only 2 losers. It's an extraordinary hand. As I say, it came up. There was quite a few wild hands on me. But it's important, I think, to bid 5 hearts there. You've got to bid something. It won't always work. As soon as you hear 5 spades, well, the North hand is spectacular. Now, you've heard your partner introduce a new suit at the 5 level. It's 10. I mean, they've done well. I think North's done well not to bid a grand slam here. A lot of the time, I mean, if you change the south hand to the ace of hearts instead of the king, you are going to be bidding the same. So, but I would have bid 6 clubs, and over 4 spades, I'd bid 5 clubs. I think you've got to show the double suitor. As I say, South may well bid 6 clubs here. I don't think it's clear to lead a heart. In fact, I think a lot of East players against 6 clubs would lead a low spade, to be honest. That looks more normal. It really does, to get partner on lead. And if there'd been a singleton in each hand, of course, you'd get your partner on lead and you'd get your diamond ruff. But I would have thought the more normal lead here is the ace of spades. And you just ruff it and claim in 6 clubs. And like on the other hand, you would end up making your 12 tricks. But as I say, isn't it extraordinary? 4 spades made a lot of tables, 5 spades doubled made twice, 5 spades made at other tables, and it's the power of the 2-suiter. Counting your losers, just a 2-loser hand, and if your opponents have both bid spades aggressively, well then your partner has surely got support for one of those minors, so you're allowed to use the losing tricks, and all you need there is from your partner is the ace, 1 ace really. Anyway, it's really a hard luck story that I wanted to tell you. Anyway, let's look at the bidding quiz and come towards the end here. Okay, you are West. It's game all. It goes 2 spades weak from your partner. 2 spades weak from your partner. 2 no trumps from South. So 2 spades weak, 2 no trumps from South. And it's your bid. It's game all, so both sides vulnerable. 2 spades from your partner, 2 no trumps overcall. So you can get that answer as always on the website, whether you're a member or not. Don't forget, if you're not a member, you do need to just give us your email and sign up. So you've got a decision to make. 2 spades, 2 no trumps. What do you think? So good luck with that one. And I think that is us for the Monday. So if you fancy joining me for the Wednesday teams, please do. And obviously Friday as well. We're here next Monday as well. And I think then I do the teams as well of next week, but then head off to Tuscany. But that's ahead of us. So thank you for your company. Let's hope it gets a little warmer as we move forward. And now it's time for the beginners. So let's go to the novices and see what we've got in store. We are sticking with signals. And let's see how we get on with that. So what we've said over the past 4 weeks is when you get the lead, it's quite nice if your partner can help you. It's a wonderful thing. Okay, it's a wonderful thing if your partner can help you. You know, and sometimes he gets the opportunity to do that. Particularly if he discards something, he can, you know, help you out. For the most part, most of the time when we're discarding cards we don't want. But we do sometimes have the opportunity to help our partner out. The key thing is you're not allowed to use your voice or your body. So what do I mean by that? You can't say, partner, can you lead a heart? Or point to your heart. You can only use the cards in your hand. And the system we tended to use is what I call a natural system, where you throw a high spot card. So remember, the spot cards are the cards from 2 to 10, the ones that have the actual suit symbols on, as opposed to the court cards, the kings, queens, jacks and ace. We play a high spot card, so a sort of 7, 8 or 9. Or even 10, you know, to say, I like this, partner, come on. Okay, so for example, if you wanted your partner to lead that suit, you'd throw the 9. Whereas if you had a suit with lots of low cards, you'd play the 2 in that suit to say, partner, no thanks. High for I, low for no. Okay, so that's the signalling system. So let's put it into action and see what happens. Okay, so we're going to be in 4 spades here. South is the declarer. You haven't got many points. Apologies for that. Okay, but you've got some nice trumps. Interesting. Anyway, you led your sequence. You led the Jack of Hearts, which looks okay when you see dummy until the lead runs to the Ace of Hearts. So clearly you haven't hit any gold dust there. You're not quite sure where your partner's strength might be. Declarer plays the ace and then the king of spades. Okay, the ace followed by the king. So draws 8 spades. Everybody follows if that's okay. Okay, so let's take those away. Declarer then chooses, and then we are going to see in a moment that this isn't necessarily the wisest play, but Declarer chooses to draw the last trump, which is your queen of spades, and of course that's the master trump. So Declarer wins it. Okay, and it's your play. Okay, what do you play next? Now, I've been very kind and I've left that suit up, because too often what will happen when you're playing cards is you'll win the queen of spades, the cards will be put away, and then you'll make your decision of what to play next. Whereas actually what's crucial is what's been played on this trick. Because you led the Jack of Hearts and Declarer won the ace. You can see the king and queen in dummy, can't you? So therefore, not much point in leading hearts. Partner's got no spades to ruff them anyway. So I think you should choose between diamonds and clubs. Has your partner given any indication what he might like you to play? Now, if you remember from the previous weeks, your partner's always played a high card to help you out. Well, he can also play a low card to help you out as well. Can you see that? His low club says no. Does that make sense? So rather than playing a high diamond to say, come on, lead a diamond, he's led a low club to say, don't lead a club, partner, can't help you there. And actually, well, we're not going to lead hearts because Declare's got those. Partner doesn't want us to lead a club, so what are we going to lead? There's only one suit to lead. So we choose a diamond. So remember, high for I, but low is also there for no. And so we take the club lead, the club discard, apologies, as no. So let's lead a diamond instead. There you go. Lead a high one to say, partner, I've not got much here. And lo and behold, your partner's got the ace, king, queen. He didn't want to waste one of them though, did he? If he'd wasted one of them, then Declare would have made his contract. Okay, but instead, oops, apologies. So, if he had wasted the queen of diamonds, okay, then of course, he could have thrown it, the queen of diamonds would have thought, oh, I'd lead a diamond, but then he'd only have the ace and king left. Okay, so of course, here he played the two of clubs, partner, not interested in a club. Okay, now, the key on this hand is I wanted to show you the signal. Actually, Declarer might have done a bit better. It's quite advanced Declarer play, but the idea is Declarer played the ace and king of spades on this hand. He actually didn't need to draw the last trump, because when the last trump is a master, it's always going to make anyway. So he might have then just played the king and queen of hearts off, discarding a diamond, and then played the ace, king, queen, jack of clubs off, etc. Okay, and eventually we would have ruffed with the queen of spades, but I think Declarer would have managed to discard a diamond by then. However, we can't help how Declarer plays. Our job is to defend. And so Declarer here won the ace of hearts. He played the ace and king of spades and another spade. And when we won the queen, we chose the right suit to switch to. Now, we might have guessed anyway, but our partner helped us. That two of clubs was brilliant. The two of clubs said, partner, don't bother about clubs. Whereas if he'd played the nine of clubs, it would have said, partner, lead a club, I'd love you. Okay. So your partner can help you. And it's such an important aspect of bidding. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Signalling. As you go into bridge and get better and better at bridge, you can do more and more signalling. You can also get more and more confused by signalling, but that's another matter. But simple signalling is worthwhile, where you help each other play the best cards. Because bridge is not an easy game, and defending when you can only see your own hand and not your partner's is really tricky. Very different to Declarer play, isn't it? Declarer play, you can see yours and dummy, so you can sort of make a plan. Whereas defending, it's really tricky because without seeing each other's hands, you're sort of having to guess what's in them. And so the odd signal makes a lot of difference. Hope you enjoyed that and see you again soon.